Ciao ragazzi, benvenuti alla nostra lezione asincrona numero 5. Welcome to our fifth lesson, asynchronous lesson number 5. And let's see what we have in the ordine della lezione oggi. Share the screen. And here we are. Lezione asincrona numero 5, ottobre 18, 2021. Okay, so we had our saluti, our greetings, okay? And we're going to practice a little bit of that. And just to remind you again to open your Connect assignments, finish your assignments. I said earlier on and on Wednesday that I will not penalize for late assignments except if the assignments are all done towards the end of the semester. And above all, listen, repeat, and practice. Everything I say, you repeat like a parrot. It's the only way that you can get speaking and using your verbal powers to start to put sentences together, because we are moving on now a little bit further. And but let's see what there is here today. So we're going to review the strategie di comunicazione that we practiced last Wednesday. Come stai? Come sta? Come va? Asking how someone is and asking your nationality. Sei italiano? Sei italiana? Di dove sei? Where are you from? Dove nato? Dove sei nato? Or dove sei nata? Asking someone where they are born. And then we are going to move further into some adjectives, because we are going to start expanding your knowledge of words that you can put together in a sentence to express how you are or what something is. And then we're going to introduce the two pillar verbs of the Italian language, the verb avere, to have, and the verb essere, to be. And let's put it the other way. The verb essere is the most important because it's to be, and the verb avere is the one to have. So they're both equally important, but first of all, we are, and then we have, right? So let's move on to our practice today of reviewing how we greet someone, how we introduce ourselves, how do we find out where we're from, where we live, okay? So with much further ado, I'm going to bring the lavagna up and we'll get into practice a little drill. Okay, let's bring the lavagna up and also our book. Okay, I believe that you can see the book and the lavagna at the same time. And this is what we did last Wednesday. Come stai? How are you? Come sta, the formal way of asking how you are. And come va? How is it going? So we'll review these two cartoons, questi due fumetti. Ciao Sofia, come stai? It's informal. Buongiorno, signor Shu. Come sta? It's informal, okay? Now let's do a little practice. We are going to do this practice all informal because this is something that we're going to do between the two of us. As you listen, you're going to also participate in this lesson in this way. So I'm going to ask you what's your name? And I said, ciao, come ti chiami? Okay, and you would respond, mi chiamo Steven, for example. Mi chiamo Steven. Now I'm gonna ask you, come ti chiami? And you're going to respond with your name. Okay, let's do a little drill here. Ciao, come ti chiami? So you responded, mi chiamo, with your name there. Okay, let's try it again. Ciao, come ti chiami? Okay, if you ask me come mi chiamo, I would say, mi chiamo Professor Fernandez, Professore Fernandez. Okay, and how are you? Come stai? How is it going? Come va? Ciao Steven, come stai? And Steven would probably say, bene, grazie. E tu? Okay, so I'm going to ask you, ciao, come stai? And you can choose any of these one. Benissimo, molto bene, bene, non c'è male, not too bad, così così, so so, and insomma, ok? Ciao, come va? You can answer. Okay, it's a little practice. It's important that you speak up, okay? So I'm going to ask you if you are Italian. And then you're going to respond, probably most likely no. So sei italiano, if you're a boy, or sei italiana, and you would respond, no, sono americano. Or if you are from another country, what would you say, for example? If you are from Poland, no. Let me put not that. Poland in Italian is Polonia. Okay? Polonia. Let's pretend you're from Poland, Polonia. No, sono polacco. And that's an adjective here already. Polacco is an adjective, okay? So sono polacco. And if you ask me, sei italiano? I would say, no. Sono venezuelano americano. Because I have dual nationality, okay? Di dove sei? So I'm asking more specifics here. Di dove sei? And you can say the place where you're from, where you live. You can say sono di Brooklyn, okay? Or if you're not from Brooklyn or you're from the Bronx, you say sono del Bronx. That's a or if you are from Manhattan, sono di Manhattan. Or if you are from another city like Chicago, you would say sono di Chicago. Okay? So let's recap. I'm going to ask you and you're going to respond, okay? Ciao, come ti chiami? Come stai? Sei italiano o italiana? Di dove sei? Oh, I missed the Chicago here. Okay. Di dove sei? Okay. And that's a little review. Okay, and we're going to move on now to our book. Now let's move forward introducing some adjectives. And what are adjectives for? What are they useful for? They're useful to describe people, places, and things. So this section, Lessico, has some very important adjectives that you can use to describe yourself, other people, or other things or places. So let's listen to some of this, okay? And you repeat, 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 okay?
Allegro.
Allegro, he's happy.
Grasso.
Grasso.
Giovane.
Giovane.
Magro.
Magro.
magro, magro,
It should say alto here and saying magro again. Let's see.
magro,
Oh, mamma. That's a mistake. It's alto. Here you should say alto. Ok?
attivo,
Attivo,
debole,
debole,
anziano,
anziano,
forte,
forte,
basso,
basso,
veloce,
veloce,
ricco,
ricco,
pigro,
pigro,
povero,
povero,
triste,
triste,
lento,
lento. So here you have some adjectives and synonyms and opposites. Like bello, carino. The opposite is brutto. Spiritoso. Serio. So that you know what serious mean, and the opposite, the antonym would be spiritoso. Spirited, something like that. Buono. Cattivo. Divertente. Noioso. Grande. Piccolo. So and so on. You can, in your book, you can click to all of these different adjectives and the opposites are here and repeat them, okay? So a little exercise here. Complete this sentence, for example. You say, mi chiamo, your name, sono, an adjective, e, another adjective. So I'm going to give you an example about myself, for example, using two of the adjectives that are on the lessico. Mi chiamo José, sono alto e magro. I'm tall and thin. Let's look at the adjectives here. Sono, mi chiamo José, sono alto e magro. Okay, now you do it yourself. Now it's your turn to do it, okay? Remember, do it, say it, and repeat it, okay? All right, so there's more information here in Lessico. Lessico is a section that I recommend that you really explore on your own because it's a way of enriching your vocabulary. And even though we do introduce some of it as we do our classes asynchronous or Zoom, I want you to really explore it by yourselves, because otherwise it would take us too long. And you know, all the different words in the lessico have a button to play that tells you, you know, the pronunciation, how to pronounce it. Okay. Okay. For example, here, let's stop here for a second. For example, let's do this construction here. Continue the description of yourself by naming one thing that you have and describing it with two color adjectives. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example. All right, let's do an example here. Okay, mi chiamo, here you put your name. Sono, you can say your nationality and something else about yourself, and something that you have. O, un, una, un o uno. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example and then you do your own. Okay, mi chiamo José, sono americano e venezuelano. That's because I have two nationalities. Second sentence. Ho un cane. That's the nome. cane. E nero e bianco. He is black and white. O un cane e nero e bianco. Or I could say simply nero e bianco because it's just asking me for two colors here. So you give me an example. I'm gonna wait 10 seconds, okay? And you put it together. Okay, so let's move on. Let's look now at some adjectives that are cognates. Cognates mean that they are very similar to English because they share the same root, either Latin or Greek. So let's look at some examples here in the book that you will most likely identify pretty fast, okay? Contento, curioso, difficile, disordinato. Repeat after me, okay? Estroverso, generoso, intelligente, interessante, introverso, nervoso, ordinato, sincero, stressato, studioso, stupido. So let's see if we can put some sentences together. I'm going to give an example and then you come up with yours on your own, okay? So I could say, for example, mi chiamo José, sono curioso e studioso. Studioso. So I'm already saying a lot about myself. Now you try, okay? Try one sentence. We're going to go through this in class anyway, but I want you to practice a little bit ahead of our class on Wednesday. For example, I could also say il libro è interessante from this list. Or, for example, if we go back to the dog, il cane è curioso e intelligente. So my dog is very curious and intelligent. Il cane è curioso e intelligente. You can say things about yourself. You can add your name. Mi chiamo. Sono estroverso. If you are extroverted. E generoso. Generous. Try something else. So you're starting to learn how to say things about yourself. All right. Now let's listen to some young Italians use some interesting adjectives that they use very often. Let's bring the screen back. Okay, there are three: Matilde, Guia, and Emanuele. Okay, and I believe they're Romans, not only because of what you see behind them, but also a little bit their accents. Very subtle though, very, very subtle. Okay, let's listen. So, we just talked about cognates. A lot, if not almost all of these are actually cognates. So prick up your ear, see what you can catch, and then we'll discuss it.
Quali sono 5 o 6 aggettivi che usi spesso?
Which are the 5 or 6 adjectives that you use often. Okay, think about that, because then in class, I'm gonna ask you, and then we're gonna do a little game with those adjectives that you prefer to use, okay? Let's listen now.
Buono, cattivo, interessante, simpatico, bello.
Buono, cattivo, interessante, simpatico, bello. Okay, let's see. Let me bring this here. She said buono, which we know is good. And cattivo is the opposite of buono. Cattivo, intelligente, interessante. This is a cognate. Intelligente is also a cognate. And she said bello, which is something we use in Italian a lot. Bello. Sei bello. Ciao bello. Okay, let's listen to Guia. What does she say?
Allora, antipatico, stupido, carino, intelligente, bello e grandioso.
Allora, she said antipatico, carino, you repeat, stupido, intelligente, bello, grandioso. Let's look at it here. Because she said antipatico. When someone is not pleasant to you, you can say è antipatico or è antipatica. And that is the opposite of simpatico, which we use a lot in Italian, simpatico. For example, I can say Matilde è simpatica, but Emanuele è antipatico, for example. So, and simpatico is very similar to sympathetic, but that's a totally different meaning in English. So she said antipatico, carino. That's something we use a lot in Italian, carino. Something is nice, lovely, we say carino, okay? Oh, here it is, she already had it written down. Let's look for another one. Stupido. Okay, we know what that is. Bello, she uses bello too. Italians use bello a lot. And grandioso. Sounds like grandeur. It's grand, grandioso. Oh, there it is, it's written there too. What is one that she's not? She has intelligente, she also has intelligente. Now let's listen to Emanuele, okay?
Stupendo, importante, interessante, fantastico. Bello è troppo scontato.
Okay, he says stupendo, importante, interessante, and fantastico. And then at the end he said, bello è troppo scontato. I'll tell you that in a second. So he said stupendo, importante, you repeat after me, interessante, fantastico, we know what that means, and he said that bello è troppo scontato. It's too obvious, bello, because they use it a lot. So he said doesn't really count. But anyway, these are some very, very good adjectives that you can add to your vocabulary and, you know, put some sentences together, simple sentences. For example, let's do an example. Let's choose a couple of these adjectives. Okay, let's see. Let's choose two from Emanuele. Il libro è interessante. I can say that about a book. Il libro è interessante. That's not the way of the accent. I have to get it from a keyboard. The accent goes this way. Ok, il libro è interessante. Il film è stupendo. Stupendo is great. That's not quite a cognate word, but fantastico is, interessante is, importante is, bello, we know what it is. Let's make 2 sentences. So now you make a sentence choosing one of Emanuele's adjectives, okay? I'll give you 5 seconds. Okay, let's choose 2 adjectives from Guya's list. Okay, I'm gonna use one. You may disagree with me for political reasons, but here I am. Mr. Trump è antipatico. It's a personal observation, okay? Il cane è carino. He's a lovely dog. Okay. Let's choose 2 adjectives from Matilde. Il caffè è buono. Okay. Let's use cattivo, the antonym, the opposite. Let me think of something that it's bad. Just came to my head that, you know, who cares? It's just we're learning to use language. Le droghe sono cattive. That's plural from cattivo. Cattivo, singular, and cattive, plural, because the droghe is plural here. So droga is singular. Okay, droghe is plural. Le droghe sono cattive. That's my opinion too. Let's look for another example of cattivo. Yeah. Il diavolo è cattivo. The devil is evil. Okay, so these are some interesting adjectives you can use to express many, many things with very little language. Okay, all right. Okay, let's continue looking at our adjectives, but now we are going to be looking at the agreements. How do adjectives agree with the article, and how do adjectives agree with the nouns? Okay, and for this section, we are going to go directly to the grammar tutorial in the book, because it summarizes very clearly and succinctly what the rules are for agreements, okay? And after that, we're going to look for some adjectives that come before the noun. Remember, adjectives always come after the noun, but there are 4 that come always before the noun. So we'll do that after we do the grammar tutorial. Okay, I'm going to make it larger here. Okay, full screen. Okay, let's go.
Adjective agreement with nouns. Today, Sarah and Elise are sightseeing. They are visiting Fiesole, a small nearby hill town that has a breathtaking view of Florence.
And here you can see Florence. And this is the famous dome by Brunelleschi in the Duomo of Florence, Santa Maria Novella. And that was a great feat of engineering in the Renaissance. He actually opened the Renaissance. Some historians say that. It was the biggest dome ever built, with, of course, Roman technology. That, remember that Romans were great engineers, and there's the Pantheon in Rome, which was just a huge, huge dome. So let's listen to it.
Sara is describing the view, while Elise clearly has something else on her mind.
Firenze è bella.
Let me move this a little bit. Okay. Let's try again. It's just this is blocking the. Let me see if you can move this. Oh, okay. Okay, that's better. Now let's start again.
Adjective agreement with nouns. Today, Sara and Elise are sightseeing. They are visiting Fiesole, a small nearby hill town that has a breathtaking view of Florence. Sara is describing the view, while Elise clearly has something else on her mind.
Firenze è bella.
Sì, bello.
La cupola è incredibile, vero?
Sì, incredibile.
La città è magnifica, eh?
Sì, magnifico.
Are you already starting to notice the difference between the agreements from Elise and her friend? So obviously talking about two very different things. So let's go.
Stupendo.
Why do you think Sara is perplexed by her conversation with Elise? Let's compare the adjectives they used. Have you figured out why Sara was confused? Adjectives agree in gender and number with the nouns they modify. All the adjectives that Sara used are feminine singular, but all the adjectives that Elise used are masculine singular. Except for incredibile, they could not have been talking about the same thing. Let's look at a few more examples of adjective agreement. In La cupola stupenda, the feminine singular noun is described by the feminine singular adjective.
Cupola, it's dome, okay? The dome of Brunelleschi.
Stupenda.
So it's agreeing. Cupola, singular, feminine, stupenda, the adjective, agrees with the noun.
And in the plural, they are both feminine plural. Le cupole stupende.
Again, le cupole stupende. Le, plural, noun in plural, and the adjective plural.
A masculine singular noun is described by a masculine singular adjective. Il ragazzo simpatico. And in the plural, both the noun and the adjective are masculine plural. I ragazzi simpatici. Agreement patterns are a little less obvious when the endings of the nouns and adjectives do not match. Adjectives that end in "e" are used with both masculine and feminine singular nouns.
La cupola incredibile. Lo scooter veloce.
In the plural, the final "e" always becomes "I", even with feminine nouns.
Le cupole incredibili. Gli scooter veloci.
So, as I keep repeating, there are many rules in grammar and in languages, but there are always exceptions to the rule.
Ora tocca a te.
Now it's your turn, okay? Pay attention.
Fill in the blank with the appropriate ending of the adjective. Your challenge is to give your response before the answer appears on the screen.
What do you think goes in here? Il quaderno. Is it maschile or femminile? Is it plurale or singolare? Let's see.
If you said il quaderno azzurro,
Perfetto!
Ok. La macchina, is that femminile or maschile, singolare or plurale? Mm? La macchina ha.
If you said
la macchina piccola,
benissimo!
if you said la città grande,
Favoloso!
Ok, gli zaini, so plural. Mhm. We already know it's plural because we see two.
if you said gli zaini nuovi,
Fantastico!
If you said
le foto interessanti,
Wow!
Ok, let me go back to that for a second. Le foto interessanti. Oh, where is it? Ok, le foto interessanti. Usually you would say la foto interessante, right? Because la foto is femminile and would be le foto interessanti. So photo, as I explained in a previous lesson, is shortening for fotografia, okay? So photo can be singular or plural. La foto or le foto, okay?
if you said
le foto interessanti,
Wow!
I ragazzi.
if you said i ragazzi felici,
Perfetto!
La
If you
bici.
said
la bici veloce,
eccellente.
Le bambine. Plural. Femminile. Le bambine, ok?
If you said
le bambine timide,
Esatto!
What if it's just una bambina, singolare? What would you say? Hmm? Right? La bambina timida.
Sarah and Elise have finished their day of sightseeing, and Sarah asks Elise her impressions.
Allora, ti piace Firenze?
Sì, è bellissima.
E Massimo?
Massimo, è simpatico, ma lo scooter è fantastico.
So you see that how they use those adjectives. Let's go back for a second. And remember, the verb piacere, to like, she has ti piace Firenze. Let's see.
Sì, è
Let's go back. A little bit more.
Sarah asks Elise her impressions.
Allora, ti piace Firenze?
sì, è
You see, she has allora, so then, ti piace Firenze? Sì, è bellissima. La città bellissima. Ok.
è bellissima.
E Massimo?
Massimo, è simpatico, ma lo
So she uses here some of the adjectives we've learned today. Massimo was that guy that she saw going down the hill on the scooter. She said, è simpatico, ma lo scooter è fantastico. Okay?
lo scooter è fantastico.
Elise ha capito tutto. E tu? Alla prossima.
So I encourage you to always log into your book and listen to these very succinct grammar tutorials. They're very, very well made. And we're going to stop here for a second. I need to take a break. So there's a few more adjectives that I wanted to talk about. Usually they come before the noun. Let me share the screen. And they are very useful to enrich your ability to express things about places, people, or yourself. So, and these are the two first ones. Molto and poco. Okay, molto is a lot, poco is a little. So, for example, you say, mi piace molto il caffè. Okay, you don't say, you don't use it after the noun, okay? Although, you know, sometimes when you speak, it depends where you put the accent, but we won't go there. Just remember, you use it before the noun. Let's see. Poco. Mi piace poco l'aceto. Okay? Mi piace poco l'aceto. Now you can use it for something that you like a lot and something that you like a little, okay? And always goes before the noun. Two other important adjectives, questo, questa, okay? Questo caffè è buono. This coffee is good. This coffee, questa, questo caffè. That's maschile. Questa casa è bella. This house is beautiful. Let's see another example. Con questa. Questa amica è simpatica. An exam, quest'esame. Quest'esame è difficile. This is a difficult exam. So we have molto, poco, questo, questa. Okay, and then let's see what else is here that we need to know. Okay. Altro and stesso. Look at this. L'altro amico, the other friend. Le altre amiche, plural, the other friends. Lo stesso studente, the same student. Gli stessi studenti, the same students, plural. So l'altro is the other, altro, l'altro. Okay. Stesso, the same, stesso, and plural stessi. And altro, the plural form of altro is altri. Oh no, the feminine is altri. Okay. So let's see if we can put a couple of sentences with this. Questa casa è grande. This house is big. Questa casa è grande. L'altra casa è piccola. Okay, I'm using a variation here. Questa casa è grande. L'altra casa, the other house, è piccola. Okay. Let's put an example here with stesso. La casa è la stessa. The house is the same. And gli stessi studenti, for example. Gli stessi studenti sono americani. The same students are Americans, okay? So bear in mind, in questo, questa, no, scusa, in molto, in molta, you don't use a definite article, you omit it. You don't say il molto caffè, no, you say molto caffè, okay? Or you don't say la molta pizza or la poca pizza, you say molta pizza, okay? All right, and now we're going to move to an introduction to the two pillars of all communications, the verb to be, essere, and the verb to have, avere, okay? And don't worry if for now it is a little bit confusing, but it will all sink in. On Wednesday, we will be doing some exercises together so that interfacing will be easier for you to understand how the agreements take place between all the different particles we have been putting together, the article, the noun, and the adjective, okay? And now we're going to move to the most important verbs, that as I said, the verb essere, to be, and the verb avere, to have. Let's look at some examples here. Okay, so let's read this one here. Sono una persona tranquilla. Let's read the next one. Ho una macchina rossa. So you're already guessing which verb is essere and which one is avere, which one is to be and which one is to have. So sono una persona tranquilla uses the first singular io, I. Io sono una persona tranquilla, from the verb essere. Ho una macchina rossa, I have a red car. Ho una macchina rossa, again, first person singular. Io ho una macchina rossa. Okay, let me put this in lowercase. Okay. Let's look at the next one. Oggi sono allegro. Oggi sono allegra. Again, we're using the verb essere. Io sono allegro. Ho un cane. Sono timido. Ho una famiglia numerosa. Numerosa, many people in my family. It's quantity. Numero is number. Numerosa, many. Okay? So, you see, we have already been using the verb essere. Okay? And sometimes we have been using the verb avere. But now let's look at it here. Okay? Io sono. Tu sei. Remember when I asked you, di dove sei? Where are you from? Di dove sei? I use the form sei because it's the singular, the second person singular, okay? Tu sei. Allora, let's write it here. Io sono. Tu sei. Lui. He, lei, she, lui, lei, e. Okay. Third person singular. La casa è grande. That's third person singular, la casa, okay? Noi, we. Noi siamo. Voi siete. Loro sono. So interesting that the first person singular io and the third person plural both use sono, okay, in this context, in this verb. But we're going to be practicing a lot of this in class. This is just a brief introduction, okay? And the same goes for the verb avere. And these are irregular verbs. They don't follow a pattern, but more about that much later in your course. So repeat after me. Io sono. Tu sei. Lui, lei è. Noi siamo. Voi siete. Loro sono. Okay? Let's do the verb avere. Io ho. Tu hai. Lui, lei ha. Noi abbiamo. Voi avete. Loro hanno. As I said before, you need to learn things in context, okay? We're just doing this drill about the conjugation of the verb to give you an overall understanding and overview, okay? But as I said, we need to do things in context, but we will do that together when we get to class on Wednesday, okay? And let's look at these examples here. Aurora ha sete, okay? The graphic speaks for itself. It's verb avere. Aurora ha sete. Marta ha fame. Ahmed ha paura. You repeat after me always. Come on. Giacomo ha sonno. Cristiana ha caldo. Ugo ha freddo. Rebecca ha ragione. Gaia ha torto. Okay? So in all of these examples, we use the first person singular of the verb avere. Okay? Sorry, the third person singular. Okay, let's go. Let's listen to a tutorial to end this brief introduction to the verbs essere and avere, okay?
The irregular verbs essere and avere. It's Friday and Elise and Jacob don't have class. Paolo has an idea.
Ho un'idea, è venerdì e io e Jacob non abbiamo lezione.
Okay, look, for example, let's repeat this for a second.
Io e Jacob
Ho un'idea. Ho un'idea. He has an idea. Io ho un'idea. E venerdì, we're using already a different verb there. A verb. This is the verb avere. This is essere. E venerdì. E io e Jacob non abbiamo lezione. Ok, abbiamo. Ok, it's noi abbiamo. It's first person plural. Noi non abbiamo lezione. So you're already in this small construction here, you're seeing already a lot of what we have learned before, and we're adding these tenses, okay?
non abbiamo lezione. Anche tu non hai lezione, vero Elise?
Non hai, io ho, tu hai, lei non ha lezione, vero?
Sì,
Siamo stanchi di studiare. Avete voglia di fare un'escursione?
Siamo, noi siamo, we are stanchi, tired of studying. Noi siamo stanchi di studiare. Avete voglia di fare un'escursione? Would you want to come on an excursion? Voi avete, do you guys would like to come in an excursion?
Voi siete pazzi. Sono stanco.
Voi siete pazzi. You guys are a little crazy. Voi.
Two common irregular verbs in Italian are essere, to be, and avere, to have. Let's take a look at their forms using the verbs you've just seen. Il verbo essere.
Io sono, tu sei, lui o lei è,
And again, repeat. I'm going to go back and I want you to repeat also, okay? Pay attention and repeat. And anyway, you can access this anytime on your book.
Essere.
io sono, tu sei, lui o lei è, noi siamo, voi siete, loro sono.
Il verbo avere.
Io ho, tu hai, lui o lei ha, noi abbiamo, voi avete, loro hanno.
It is always important to look for patterns in language. Do you notice any patterns in these conjugations? In the conjugation of the verb essere, the io and loro forms are the same.
Mhm.
Io sono, loro sono. In the avere conjugation, the noi and the voi forms are the only ones that don't begin with an H when they are written. Noi abbiamo, voi avete.
That's why they're called irregular verbs. They don't follow a specific pattern.
Now let's take a closer look at some special ways avere is used. Elise, Paolo, and Jacob have decided to explore one of the many hiking trails around Florence. The verbs essere and avere are used much the same way in Italian and in English, but Italian uses avere in several very common expressions, where English uses to be instead.
Jacob ha caldo, Paolo ha sete, Elise ha fame. Ora tocca a te.
Let's
Now
try.
you're going to complete the statements with the correct form of the verb essere or avere.
Ok. Elise, uno zaino rosso. E, o, oh, e, no, these are the choices. E, o, sono, o a. So you choose the one, okay? Elise, uno zaino rosso.
Your challenge is to choose the correct verb before the answer appears.
For this would be helpful if you had, let me bring to the screen I'm going to bring to the screen the little chart. Hold on a sec.
Very common expressions where in the avere conjugation,
Okay. This is going to help you in ora tocca a te to choose the right conjugation for that particular case. Let me open it. Okay, put it here. Let's make it smaller. Okay, I'm gonna keep it small because, all right.
it is used.
Okay, let's
Elise,
go.
Paolo, and Jacob have decided to explore one of the many hiking trails around Florence. The verbs essere and avere are used much the same way in Italian and in English, but Italian uses avere in several very common expressions, where English uses to be instead.
Jacob ha caldo, Paolo ha sete, Elise ha fame.
Okay, let's go. You try.
Ora tocca a te.
Now you're going to complete the statements with the correct form of the verb essere or avere. Your challenge is to choose the correct verb before the answer appears.
If you said,
Elise ha uno zaino rosso.
fantastico,
Yes, Elise ha uno zaino rosso because Elise is
If you said
third person.
Jacob è lento,
Third person.
benissimo.
Hold on a second. third person singular. Elise ha uno zaino rosso, right? Let's go back a little bit.
Rosso.
Fantastico!
Next.
If
Jacob.
you said Jacob è lento, benissimo.
Yeah, Jacob è lento. Jacob, third person singular, verb essere, è lento. He is slow. Jacob is slow.
If you said,
Massimo e Sara non hanno voglia di fare un'escursione.
Incredibile!
So Massimo e Sara non hanno voglia di
Massimo e
fare...
Sara
Non hanno voglia di fare un'escursione. Massimo and Sara don't want to go on an excursion. So, non hanno is loro, third person plural. Loro non hanno voglia di fare un'escursione. Ok? Let's look at our next example.
Sara non hanno voglia di fare un'escursione.
Incredibile!
if you said,
Elise e Paolo sono stanchi di studiare.
perfetto!
Elise e Paolo sono stanchi di studiare. Sono, again, third person plural of the verb essere. Loro sono stanchi. They are tired. They, ok?
È ora di tornare. Siete pronti?
Quanto è brillante, Jacob! Elise ha capito tutto. E tu? Alla prossima!
Okay, alla prossima. This brings us to the end of our asynchronous lesson today. But don't worry, on Wednesday, we are going to do some exercises together that are from the book and some stuff that I'm going to bring to class. And remember, listen to your asynchronous lessons because they are just like private lessons for you. And you can rewind, forward, take notes, and hear it again. Ok, arrivederci ragazzi, ciao!